Northwest Community Safety and Transport MEC Wessels Morweng says progress is being made to ensure that scholar transport vehicles in the province meet safety standards. Morweng says 90 operator contracts have so far been terminated due to non-compliance with regulations. Refiloe Seboko has been following the story and the news conference and joins us now for an update. Part of the story there, Ref, is the issue of non-payment as well. Were those operators happy with the message that they heard from the officials there?
Well, Imani, you'll understand that these operators, all that they want to hear is when the money will be paid into their account so that they can be able to, continue and service in terms of ferrying learners, which is something that also the MEC alluded to say that as much as they've been trying to engage and meet these service providers, the service providers doesn't want to hear the MEC speak about all the big English, and that's why, and I quote him, and all the service providers want to hear is when the money will be paid the money will be paid. That is, and we understand that system failure, it has been blamed as the cause of these delays. But let me speak to Dr. Kekana. He is the HOD of the Department of Community Safety and Transport Management in the Northwest Province. Thank you so much. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Let's start off on the delays of the payments, but also having received over 900 invoices of scholar transport service providers.
No, thank you very much, and to you and your team. You recall that our first point of delay was in November, December, basically, when we ran short of the cash owing to various challenges. But we did report in that case. Now, when most of those invoices were carried into the fourth quarter, into the fourth quarter and the new financial year as accruals, that created a challenge because most of the service providers were not paid. But we then processed payments from December onwards, January, February to March. In fact, we are up to date in terms of processing. We should have disbursed by last week, Friday already. But Treasury has introduced a new payment system. We are told they've moved from version 5 to a version 6 of the system. Now, there was a challenge with the new version interfacing with our payment, hence the delays that the providers could not get money in time.
And talk to us about those versions, version 5, version 6. What does it mean?
Look, it's just moving from, it's a software, it's like you upgrading your software from one version to the other, but I would not have the technical details. I think Provincial Treasury will be best placed to explain to us in this. Our interest is to say the system should work so that we can disburse payment. But where we are today, Provincial Treasury went to an extent of sending our own colleagues to CETA, where the systems are operated in Pretoria and Centurion. They are currently there. In fact, when I was outside, they've given me assurance that it looks like 70% of the challenge that they had has been resolved. Then by the end of the business today, they would have given us definite and tentative feedback, because today is Tuesday. Disbursements must happen again today. But we also thank Provincial Treasury for allowing us to disburse twice a week. So it will be on Tuesday and Thursdays until the backlog is resolved.
How many that have been processed so far? We understand that you received 900 and you said about 500, but talk to us about those numbers. Well,
in terms of the statement that we have given, it's 500 plus that has been processed. But the remainder is part of this, which should be released today, between today and Friday mainly. So when we disburse on Friday, people will get their money when we disburse on Tuesday, people will get their money on Friday. When we disburse on Thursday, and then the following week, just like that, until the backlog is resolved. But where we are, we have comfortably dealt with the backlog. In fact, we are now on the April. We are already processing the April invoices, because invoices comes on the 7th of every month. So we are happy that we have now dealt with the backlog. The only thing is for this system to interface so that the providers can be paid.
And are you possibly, to receive more invoices? I mean, one of the things that you have alluded to is the issue of bulk invoicing that is happening. But, in ensuring that, how are you preparing yourself in dealing with, among others, system failure, but also avoiding yet another backlog? Because, since last year, December, clearly there seems to be the problem within the department.
Look, obviously we are processing more than 400 invoices every month. I mean, there's 446 or so, I hope I get my numbers correct, of providers, which will then tell you how many invoices we're processing per month. And that has not been a challenge per se. Of course, the issue of capacity in terms of making sure that we do all this within 30 days, it's one of those issues that but now we've introduced an invoice tracking system that we got through approval from the National Department of Public Works. Colleagues came through last week and they've introduced the system to us. It's an important invoice tracking system which will then allow us and guide us in terms of the speed at which we'll be dealing with this. But our commitment remains that we must pay invoices within 30 days.
This is affecting learners, Dr. Hans, because some, have to travel or walk long distances, something that was also highlighted during the commission, which the department is going to reappear tomorrow, and if my memory just serves me well there. What is the intervention in terms of, some of the learners that are still affected? And what do you have to say to the service providers who says we cannot continue until we are paid?
Look, of course, learners will be affected by service providers who are not in a position to ferry them to school. And as the MEC said, that's one of those things where we really apologize that we could not provide a service owing to the glitches in terms of the system wherein we are not able to pay, or we were not able to process payments of service providers. But we also want to thank service providers because they've continued ferrying learners to school, irrespective, and they are also in the process of assisting us to make sure that we get this between now and the payment period, that learners go to school. But there are areas where we've picked up where service providers have not been able to ferry learners because of this issue of non-payment.
Confirm for us the reappearance of the department before the commission tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going back to finish off with basically it's the day that was set aside for the MEC, because in the last session of the commission, the MEC could not attend as he was going to Minmac. So tomorrow we are just going to finalize part of what was remaining with the Human Rights Commission.
Thank you so much for your time. HOD there of the Department of Community Safety and Transport Management in the Northwest Province, Dr. Hans Kekana, confirming that tomorrow, you remember that, the department had previously appeared before the commission, among others, to talk about, the challenges that scholar transport is faced in the Northwest Province, at some point also admitting to have, to some extent failed, but also making a commitment before the commission that they are going to try and put some intervention. But this is also now remains a challenge. If service providers are affected, Iman learners are also affected. But as you've just heard, that they are happy that there's been some progress and there are some measures and interventions that have been put in place.
All right, Refiloe Seboko, thank you very much for that.